All right, hey, it's Colin back at it again with another video. So today I have for you a 2009 997.2 Carrera 4S. What I want to talk to you today about is a little bit about the ownership and a little bit about what it's like to, in general, just own a 997.2. Why you want one and why you'd want one over the .1. You can go back and look at my videos. I do have a video about the .1 ownership. Then I had a GT3. Now I got this again. I'm a dealer now, so I can sell these guys and flip them. So just wanted to show you the car. It has a Sharkworks exhaust, which is pretty sweet on this thing. One of the main differences with the body styling is they changed the rear end. They added some different tail lights. This light bar across the back as well. They also have a little different exhaust. These cool wheels that came with the 09s are newer. So this is an 09 launch edition. Now, something really awesome with the launch editions is you get the carbon bucket seats. Now, I don't think it's all of them. I think it's just some of them that get the carbon bucket seats. This has a 2013 steering wheel with paddle shifters. You also get the PDK, which I used to be hardcore manual. PDK is actually pretty good. I still like the manual better, but PDK is awesome. I mean, you're going to be happy with either the PDK or manual. You're not going to be sad. If you choose either or, you're going to like both. You're going to like it. You also get the updated PCM. It's got Sport Car Package Plus, a bunch of different things, but these are most importantly carbon buckets, man. These are sweet. So I'm going to end up getting in the car. I'm going to be making a video about what it's like to drive, what it's like to own. Get these sweet brakes. You also get LED DRLs. You get Porsche early Xenon PLDS. But other than that, I mean, pretty sweet car. So make sure to stay tuned. All right, so now we're in the 997.2 Carrera 4S. Now, the Carrera 4S is kind of a mid-range car for Porsche. Porsche has the base model Carreras, and you kind of work your way up into the S model. They have the Carrera 4. When you get to the S models, you get the 3.8 liter. This is no longer Metziger engine. They went to this DFI motor. But it's nice because they got rid of those main problems. So let me, well, I mean, the first thing is they got rid of that Tiptronic, right? No one wanted that thing. I mean, it was nice in the, it's a decent transmission in the Cayenne, you know? But in the 911, it's just kind of like, kind of sluggish. You know, there's a whole reason. You know, obviously people chose the manuals. They had the Tiptronic, I think, originally back in the, oh gosh, I can't remember. It was, I think the 993 originally had a, you could get an automatic option in like the later years of the 993. And then they went to the 996, right? So then you had the manual, then you had the Tiptronic. The Tiptronic in the 996 was, it was decent in the turbo, but other than that, you did not want it. So what's the difference, right? So this car came out, originally debuted in 2005 at the 997.1, which is what my last generation car was. I had the Carrera 4S at the time. Now on to the Carrera 4S 2009. So 2009 is when they launched the new version of the Carreras. They added the LEDs in the front. They added DFI motor. The big things is they had the PDK. They got rid of the main issue, which was the IMS bearing issues, the RMS seal, all those leaks. Those are all gone now. Once they decided to go into that, they also pretty much eliminated bore scoring. It's still a minor problem in the earlier 997.2s, but it's not as big of a problem as some of the other ones. The nice thing with the 997.2 is it added some tech features. You could get aux, you could get Bluetooth, you could get a bunch of different features on this thing. And it really is pretty future-proofed compared to the 997.1. You got navigation, you got maps, you don't have this ugly display that the 997.1 had in the center stack. You also had a slight bump in horsepower. It wasn't much. But so the Carrera 4S is around 300 and, oh goodness, think it's like 385 horsepower, somewhere around there in the S model. The 4S is all-wheel drive, so yep, you can get an all-wheel drive. Sorry, there's just a disturbing amount of dead animals on this road. I live on a dirt road, so the 4S is kind of nice to have. But this is one of the best examples I've seen. If you're going to buy a 997.2 Carrera 4S, you definitely want to get a launch edition because you get these fantastic bucket seats. The other seats in the other cars just really aren't as nice. You know, I had the adaptive sport seats, which are cool, but it adds a lot of weight. With this PDK transmission, oh, it goes. So I'll get on it here in just a sec. You can hear the exhaust a little bit. So a big thing with the, so owning a 911 in Michigan, this is my third Porsche 911. My last one was a GT3, and then I went back down to a Carrera 4S. Like, why did you do that? Well, I started a car dealership, so I sold the GT3 to pretty much fund my entire inventory. I have no loans. I had a deal with my cousin out of his building. I'm actually moving buildings now. But owning it, you know, obviously the big thing is potholes. Michigan roads are horrendous. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get an alignment problem every once in a while. So owning a Porsche 911 in Michigan, there's quite a bit of, you know, you're gonna get quite a bit of road noise. If you cross the border into Ohio or Indiana, road noise significantly decreases. You're going to have problems with a lot of construction. The car gets kind of in this rut with the Michelin Sport Cup 2 tires. So it kind of gets stuck in this rut, and you're kind of trying to find the right spot to drive in. You get decent gas mileage. You know, the winter it's pretty bad, but in the summer, obviously, you're getting some decent miles per gallon. I was actually able to get 27 yesterday on my way to Grosse Pointe, Michigan. But yeah, so I mean, overall it's decent. I mean, obviously, as you can see, I'm just hitting potholes right now, and it's just kind of irritating. Things rattle on the cars. So I'm going to step into the thing about the PDK. So the PDK is new for 09. You can get them on the newer cars, of course. This car has a 2013 steering wheel, which has paddles because they would give you thumb shifters, and those sucked. So you have the automatic option. You put in the sport, and it'll do all the driving for you. You can put it into sport and then turn off the dampeners. And then you can kick it over to center. Now you control what gear you're on, kind of like an E-Gear Gallardo. We'll kick it off here. There you go. So that's manually shifting the Carrera 4S. Now, it's not as fast as the GT3, which is fine, but it does get you up to speed. It's plenty of power for your average person. It's definitely not an M3, as you'll see in my other video about the BMW E46 M3 in my opinions. Yeah, I mean, the big thing with the Carrera 4S and basically any 911 is the steering in the front end. You have a lot more control over the car itself. You can feel more in the front. It's not like you're blindly driving around. So this car revs up to 7,000 RPM on the 3.8 liter. It gets up there, I think it's about a 0-60 time of around 4 seconds, maybe 3.9, it's about 4. So yeah, I mean, overall, it's a good handling car. If you're looking for a car in Michigan, if you're looking for a daily driver or a car that you can enjoy on the weekends, it's comfortable, it's fast, gets looks, and it's just a good driver, like a good handling car that can take corners. The 911 is really the car, and they're closely compared to Corvettes or BMW M3s. Now, BMW M3s are fast, they're great in the straight line, they make good noises, they're not as reliable, which is kind of funny because it's a lower cost car, but not as reliable. And then Corvettes are reliable. LS motors are amazing, but the steering feel it feels kind of boaty compared to the 911. It just doesn't feel as tight of a car. But then also it's the same problem with the M3. The M3 feels tight. You put it in M mode, it works, but then it's weird because the front end is just so loose, and it's strange to me. Like, I drove a one recently, and it had a new front end. It had all tie rods and all the suspension components down the front end, and it still didn't feel very tight to me. So, but the 911 kind of, it steps right in between there, and yeah, it's one of the more expensive options out of those. But to me, it's the better handling, the most reliable. I have the most amount of fun driving the 911 out of all those cars. Yeah, the Corvettes are sweet. You go really fast, especially like my buddy's Z06, cool car. But I'm okay. And the nice thing with the 911, and especially being part of the community, is you don't have to spend a lot of money in mods to make it a cool car. It's one of those cars where you buy it and you leave it stock, and it's okay to leave it stock. If you modify these, people get kind of weird, you know? Something else that's like nice but also irritating is you're so used to the steering feel where if something's off in the car, you notice it right away. Like right now, I kind of noticed that with my steering, like the steering wheel is tilted a little bit to the left, and it's like not even, it's like, I don't even know, it's like a quarter of a degree to the left on a straight road, on both right and left sides of the road, with the gradient on both sides. And I noticed it. So yeah, it's slight alignment's off, and that's okay, but just something that you notice. The paddle shifters on the 2013 steering wheel are fantastic. They're nice, big. They're not like Ferrari paddles, but they're definitely something that's nice and comfortable to drive with. Something annoying about 911s, especially with my seating position, is that I can't see the side gauges as well, and that's a common problem, especially with the 992 generation. For some reason on the 99 1.2 and 99 1.1, I was able to see them. Something annoying also about the 997.2, it's a little different than the 991, is the clock, the Sport Chrono package doesn't operate as a clock. It just operates as the watch, and that's it. It doesn't operate as a clock. I like with the 991.2 and 991.1, it works like a clock. Like you literally hit the button and it just works like a clock. Tells you the time. It's just like an IWC watch clock on an S-Class. It does that. Overall, performance, yeah, I mean, pretty decent for the money. I mean, yeah, there's a lot more high-performing cars. Like, you could probably get for the price I have this listed for, you could order a new Corvette. Yeah, or you can drive an older 911 and get a lot of respect. That too. You know? So, yeah, I mean, they're pretty decent cars. Just rip around corners in these things. Through the road here. So, what is it like to own? The 997.2 is good if you're getting groceries. Got plenty of trunk space in the front, the front space. It gets you where you need to be on time. You're going to be worried about potholes. You're going to be worried about riding low and going over curves and stuff like that and pulling up on driveways. That's always a problem. People do notice your car. They don't notice it as much as my BMW 30 convertible. People love that thing. But you do notice it. You have the different modes, different suspension modes. So obviously I can put my car here in dampening mode. I'm going to have it on sport, so obviously it's going to get a little bit more tighter suspension. Around this corner here. Yeah, so I mean, obviously beautiful roads. Great car to drive on. It's a good weekend car. You can put some mileage on these things and they're reliable. This car just had new motor mounts, so I do notice the difference there. It's not like as much of a kick with the motor as like with my .1 that needed a little bit of work at 70,000 miles. I totally forgot that I owned that car at 70,000 miles. That was, I bought it at 59, sold it at 70. And that was definitely a solid car. Now, but I would take this car over the last one. This one has the all leather, it's got the Bose sound system. It's kind of got the features you want as a nice sports car to drive around. Hear that engine wind up in the back. Fabulous Boxer 6. So if you're gonna spec your car out, what are some things to look for? Now with a 997, obviously the .2, there's less differences really than the .1. There's a little less things to worry about, especially the PDK. You don't really have to worry about over revs and stuff like that. So it's nice because you don't have to worry about as many problems, really. Mainly oil leaks. If you're getting a manual, worry about over revs, that type of thing.